Welcome to the Heart-Led Business Show, where compassion meets commerce and leaders lead with love. Join your host, Tom Jacobs, as he delves into the insightful conversations with visionary business leaders who defy the status quo, putting humanity first and profit second. From heartfelt strategies to inspiring stories, this podcast is your compass in the world of conscious capitalism. So buckle up and let your heart guide your business journey.
Ladies and gents, fasten your seatbelts and align your chakras. Today, we're probing the profound with Permelia Parham, the passionate pioneer of the Healing Institute. Her heart-led hub is a highway to health, not just a stopgap. We're diving into her dream, discussing her diligence, and delivering a dash of delightful discourse on owning a heart-led business and giving us a potion of perpetual positivity right here on the Heart-Led Business Show. Permelia, welcome.
Thank you so much, Tom. I'm just delighted to be here today. I love this concept of leading with our hearts. So I'm really excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, we're glad that you're here as well. And so tell me, what is your definition of a heart-led business?
I define a heart-led business as being authentic and thinking of love first over anything else. Really leading with love, really thinking about my business is run with love, and our motto actually is service with love.
Oh.
So that's another part of the heart-led is looking at the service that we offer. And I don't think about sales in sort of the traditional way. I think about it as sacred service.
Okay. Well, that's great. That's a really nice way of looking at it. And so, but tell me, what inspired you to kind of start this business and lead with your heart?
Well, we did have a tragedy in our family a few years ago where my mom passed away at a very young age due to some complications with her kidneys because she'd been on a medication for a long time. And not once did her doctor ever tell her there could be a complication and it could damage her kidneys. So it was she died very suddenly. It happened right at Christmas. I was 5 months pregnant with my son. So the tragedy of all of that, not only the fact that she passed away at a young age, she was only 61, also my children never got to meet their grandmother.
Yeah.
And as I was developing my own business around healing, I don't want anybody else to have to go through that tragedy. And that's why I call the Healing Institute an institute, mainly because I want to really educate people around what is available, what is out there, what is the other alternatives to being well and staying well while we're on our health journey. Because let's face it, we're all on a health journey. So let's be on a wellness journey, not a sickness journey.
Yeah, exactly. So tell me a little bit more about your business and how you conduct that and help people.
Well, we were able to design it basically because we were all stuck at home in 2020 and 2021. And I had been thinking, I live on Vancouver Island in Canada, and I live in a beautiful area. It's actually very internationally known actually for the energetic vortex that is here. Now, I didn't know that there was a special energetic vortex in this certain area because those of us that live here just think it's a beautiful place to live. And so when I was looking around my small city where I live, I was thinking of creating something for holistic practitioners, a building of some kind, or finding a building. People could do their yoga retreats. They could do workshops. We would even have, my vision was at the time, was to have, some office space where people could actually see interview some of their clients or do their sessions in a private space. So that's what I was looking at and considering in the fall of 2019, just to give everybody kind of an idea as to when this happened. And then, of course, as I mentioned, we were all locked down. I didn't even know anything about Zoom. I had to learn about Zoom because, like a lot of people, because all of a sudden I'm now doing my client sessions on Zoom or over the phone. And anyway, that what sort of prompted me because there was also many of these fabulous online networking platforms that were happening at the same time. And I love networking. I love connecting with people. So I was on these networking platforms and voila, I was meeting online these amazing holistic practitioners all over the world. So I thought maybe my focus and maybe what God has in plan for me is not necessarily to have a building on Vancouver Island. Perhaps we're going to do something just a little bit bigger. We're going to do it virtually and we're going to do it globally. It's going to be an online worldwide hub for holistic practitioners. And then when I started to develop that and work on my business plan, I had a fabulous business coach that was really a visionary, and she really assisted me in looking at the bigger picture. And I went, we could have an impact. We could actually have a bigger impact on the world if we did this online and if we did it worldwide.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, a lot of the clients that I work with are in the holistic health space. And I think having a place where they can talk about their business and network with other holistic health providers, I think that would be just absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, we are a community on the Healing Institute. We are a community of holistic practitioners. Our focus, of course, is clients that are coming to get those alternative ways of being well and staying well. But we look at the client as a whole person. What I mean by that is that if the client came to me and decided that they wanted to do some body code work, which is one of the modalities that I work with, but I thought, oh my goodness, they could really benefit from one of our other practitioners that does this amazing breathing technique, or any of the other practitioners that we have, I would go, yes, let's have a conversation. Let's see what else we can do for this client.
That's really great because it kind of elevates everybody's business as well as helping the client get everything that they need to heal and get better.
Yeah, it's one-stop shopping for the client. It's perfect.
Yeah, that's great. And it obviously coming from your heart. So how do you balance then, leading with your heart and building a business that's heart-led and paying the bills, right? Making some money doing it so that you can continue to help more people. Like, what's that balance look like for you?
Well, sometimes it's a bit out of balance, to be honest. But, when you're doing what you love, often people say to me, well, are you going to retire anytime soon? And I'm like, first of all, I have no idea what that word means. And secondly, it's not work for me. I love what I do. So I have my integrity. I have my values. I really believe in what we're doing as the Institute, helping people be well from a holistic point of view. So, persistence, I think, is one of the mainstays of being an entrepreneur these days. You really have to believe in what you're doing. And of course, put all the things you can in place to support that and have people around you to support you. I mean, I was just on a women's call that I'm part of every week, and they were just raving about what the website was looking like and how, even though we have some work yet to do on it, and also the people, they are my support. They're telling me that what I'm doing I'm in the right direction.
Oh, nice. Do you find that it's important as an online business or as a business in general to have other business owners part of your network?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And, Tom, I don't believe in competition.
Yeah.
I believe in collaboration. So I can think of 2 or 3 other businesses that are somewhat similar. They're all in the health area. We've been on each other's podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
We've been on each other's interviews. We've assisted each other in ways that whatever we could, because I totally believe we need to be a community. We need to be in collaboration.
Absolutely. There's I read a business analogy or just a business study that had been done about 2 stores. Let's just say that they're 2 camera stores. And if you'd think that 2 camera stores, same type of cameras, all that next to each other, that their business would actually kind of take away from each other. But what really happened is both of their businesses rose. Because now, instead of going to one store, people aren't thinking, will I buy or not buy? But rather now that they see 2 stores, the mentality is then, which store will I buy from? And so there isn't this no buy option. It's I'm going to buy something. It's going to be from A or B. I don't believe in competition either. I think everybody has their own unique tribe that will be attracted to that business. So I think that's it.
Well, and that was an experience that I had a few years ago. I used to be a part owner of an art gallery. And we were on this mezzanine level of these two buildings, right? Retail buildings. They had put a walkway between the two buildings, which was great for people, especially because it was not where I live right now. It was on the Bald Prairie where it gets pretty cold in the winter. And on the other building, our art gallery had been there for quite a while, but we were a small art gallery. Well, in the other building, there was a sort of larger, let's say, provincial or city art gallery that moved in. And at first we were going, how's that going to work? Yeah. But you know what? They had different items. Yeah. And so it was great for people coming to either or of our art galleries. All they had to do was walk across the mezzanine and go look. Sometimes they'd go back and forth to see, okay, well, you have this and they have that. And I'll have to decide where I'm going to spend my dollar. Yeah. That was kind of my very first, I would say, experience. Positive experience about how collaboration can work.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just a better way of doing business as well. Who wants to fight with somebody else?
Well, we're not leading from our heart.
No, right, exactly.
If we're in competition, we're not leading from our heart.
Absolutely. So. Unfortunately, in our industry, there's enough sick people to go around that need help, more than enough. Unfortunate, but good thing that we have people like yourself that are making that easier to find solutions as well. So as you're building this business, and obviously delivering it from your heart, what kind of not so great surprises have come up because of leading from your heart?
Well, I didn't always ask for help. I kind of am very independent, and I think I can do it all on my own. Yeah. So that was definitely something that I've learned to do, is to ask for help. And also, you have to look sort of at the long term. We've only been in business, basically the website's been up and running barely a year. Mm-hmm. So, I need to remind myself of where we were last year and how much farther ahead we are this year. And that it's, going to take some time to grow the business. Yeah. So I think oftentimes we want it too fast or we want it too quick. Somebody mentioned to me the other day that we've grown up in a microwave society. We want it fast, quick, and now. And some things need time. And I think we need to just be aware of that and, not throw in the towel just because it's not happening on the time frame that perhaps you thought that it was going to happen. And I have a really good example of that. I was waiting for our website to be live. This was about a year and a half ago. And we had the landing page. So I was able to take people at least to what it was going to look like. But we didn't have all the practitioners behind, we didn't have it set up the way it is now. I was getting really discouraged. And so I met someone in a networking group who said to me, "You're ready. The universe is just not ready for you yet." And I went, "Oh, thank you very much." That just kind of took the pressure off completely from me thinking, "Oh, why is this not happening yet?" And you know what? Within 2 weeks, we were live.
Yeah. I almost had the exact same conversation with my business coach, I don't know, about 2 months ago, where, it was like, I just started the podcast and I said, "Oh my gosh, this is going so great. Why didn't I do the podcast sooner? It's been so refreshing and fulfilling for me." And she was just like, "You weren't ready before. It's a time." And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but people that aren't leading with their heart and with their head, and I struggle with kind of doing both, we're pushing ourselves too hard and we're not giving ourselves enough grace to accept the good things that are happening in business.
And I think that's something we have to always remind ourselves, those of us that are entrepreneurs and in business, which is probably all of your audience, give yourself some grace. The more that we try to make something happen energetically, and I work with energy as well as emotional healing, we know it's not going to happen if we're pushing for it. pushing it to make it happen. Now, not to say that we shouldn't have a vision and have a clear idea of what we want to manifest in our life. I think that's very important.
Yeah.
But then we have to let it go. Then we have to allow it to happen.
Yeah.
Which is the third part of the law of attraction. Figure out what you want, give yourself that definitive manifestation, and then allow it to happen.
Yeah. What's the saying? A goal without a plan is just a wish or a dream. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
I mean, and so how do you balance like that piece of it? Like, because that seems very heady, right? Got to plan this and I'm going to create my budget. I'm going to do all this. But how do you balance that with going, okay, like it's going to happen and I'm not going to make bad choices based on maybe the numbers not quite working out right now, but I'm just going to give myself grace. How do you balance that?
I have a mantra and a yoga meditation that I do every morning. I start my day, I get up earlier than probably I need to, but it's important for me to start my day very calmly. So I have a yoga meditation that I do. I'm, of course, a Miracles student, so I'm always reading my Course in Miracles lesson. And that really helps me. Also, the teachings with the Course in Miracles is either, are you leading from love or are you leading from fear? So when I get into my head too much, I go, okay, you're not leading from love. You're leading from a fear-based, lack-based mentality. And I don't want that. I want to be leading from a proactive and a love-based mentality.
Would that be similar to scarcity mindset and abundance mindset? Is that
absolutely? Yeah. And the Course in Miracles teaches us that there's enough for everybody. There's enough for all of us. We as humans decide we have this lack or scarcity mentality based on perhaps the way we were raised. I often think, my mother and father grew up in the Depression. My father went to war. My grandfather went to the First World War. They had a farm. My grandparents had a farm that never did well. And then the one year that it did well, and were able to buy things, the house burnt down, like those kinds of tragedies that kind of happen over and over. So I often think about that ancestry that I have, but I don't want to be part of that ancestry anymore. I now want to look at what is available, and not just for me, but for the world. Like, we really do need to be looking at what else is going on in the world and how we can serve and how we can make the world a better place. And I know that's a cliche and we hear that all the time, but really, if each one of us individually are thinking about what we can do to serve, whether it's a company, whether it's just, going to visit my next door neighbor who's 96 and give her some time and love and attention, just anything that you might be able to do, help somebody walk across the street, and just tiny little things that you can do that is just to make the world a better place and to make people know that they are cared for.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful advice. Because I think a really powerful phrase that anybody can use for somebody else is, how can I help you? How can I serve you better? I mean, there's not, unfortunately, not enough of that in the world today, especially. I'm going to throw social media under the bus here too. Like with that, it's all about me and not how can I serve you at a high level. And I think we're starting to see a little bit of a shift there with some of the content creators that are doing some cool stuff in terms of serving others.
Absolutely. And I just read something just before I came on your show about how the Gen Zers, because we've now, baby boomers, Gen millennials, the Ys and the Zs. Yeah, exactly. So, and I'm Canadian, so I say Z, not Z, but how they are actually wanting to have more relationships. So they might see something on TikTok, because that's what they're following right now. But then they'll do some research to find out a little bit more about that, because they want to have that relationship. I think we're seeing it. I think that really encouraged that we're seeing a reverse coming back to sort of what I guess you and I would call the basics.
Right.
But
And going back to what you said at the beginning about sales, and talking a little bit about that, just kind of popped it into my head. Selling is serving in a way, and because
Sure.
you can't help somebody without that exchange of value. So I think that emphasizes your point as well.
Absolutely. And I know for me, a lot of my interaction with people who are in the wellness realm, I'm always mentoring and I'm always encouraging them to look at that exchange. It's almost like I have this gift, I will need to give it away. I don't know if you've come across that a
All the time.
lot, but yes, you have this gift, but you also need to serve yourself because you do need to have money to live or grow your business, whatever you're planning to do. So that's the sacred exchange. That's what you are giving as value, has great value. And so, stand in your wholeness and your heart. And I want to say power, but I don't mean it from a
Personal.
point of view, is as long as when you're feeling solid and comfortable that you are offering this service and you are asking for this money in exchange, then that's your sacred exchange. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, you can't take care of anybody else if you're not taking care of yourself.
Absolutely.
And,
Absolutely.
and the same, if you don't love yourself, how are you going to love anybody else?
Love anybody else. Yes. Yeah. A lot. We talk a lot of, we've been talking a lot about self-love and self-confidence and not selfish to be looking at ourselves. I mean, some of us, put my hand up, was raised, anything I did for myself as a young girl was selfish and self-centered. Well, then, that's a whole paradigm shift I had to make for myself and realize that really, if I'm not looking after myself first, I need to have my cup filled up so that I now have whatever's in my cup filled up to offer other people.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great lesson. What words of advice would you give to a heart-led business owner that might be struggling a little bit right now in terms of, I gotta do I keep my morals, or do I take on this client that I know isn't a good fit, but they pay me well? Or just any type of advice that you might have from the years that you've been in business.
Well, I would say keep your morals, and whether that client's going to pay you or not, pay you well, it may not be worth it for your own self-worth and your own integrity in the end. And I've had that happen, definitely that I was like, okay, I really need this client because I really need that money. And then when I knew in my heart and my intuition that it wasn't a good fit, but I did it anyway, it all went to hell in a handbasket.
Yep.
So you know who you are. You know what your heart is leading you, how you lead your life and how you lead others. And so listen to your intuition. And if you have any kind of what I call a niggly that says, no, you shouldn't be doing that, follow that advice, because in the end, it's not worth it. And I've even, in some of my other businesses that I've actually had to fire clients because it just wasn't fitting. And I gave the money back. That hurt. It hurt to give the money back. But, I knew that it was way more stressful. And that's another thing to think about too, as a heart-led business owner. You want to be calm. You don't want to have stress in your life.
Well, and then you're leading with fear versus leading with heart.
Again, yes. And the sense of lack. Oh, I need this money because blah, blah, blah. So again, you're not leading with love. You're leading with fear.
Yeah. Great advice. And thank you for sharing that and the stories that you shared. How can people learn a little bit more about what you're doing and the website and potentially getting involved with that?
Well, that would be fabulous. Yes. So I have the website is www.the-healing-institute.com. And you can reach me at info@the-healing-institute.com, or pop on the website. Just pop on the website and send us a message. If you do pop on the website, the first time you do, you'll be asked if you want to be part of our mailing list. And we have an amazing newsletter that goes out every week. It usually incorporates the Heal the World Show podcast that I do every week on LinkedIn Live. and also information about the practitioners.
Awesome. Well, that's great. We'll link all that up into the show notes as well.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Well, Permelia, thank you so much for being on the show today. It was a great conversation. I really appreciate you and what you're doing.
Well, thank you so much, Tom. I love the fact that you've got this heart-led business show. We need more heart in the world. Absolutely. So let's make that happen.
Yes, absolutely. And to our lovely listeners out there, please do what other smart and considerate listeners are doing, and that's leaving a rating and review, because it really helps spread the word to other heart-led business owners so that they can benefit from the stories and advice that Permelia has shared with us today. So until next time, lead with your heart.
You've been listening to the Heart-Led Business Show, hosted by Tom Jacobs. Join us next time for another inspiring journey into the heart of business.